In this video, I'm going to show you how to record a site risk assessment in the system. A site risk assessment would be used under the terms of your contract often if you're out on a site laying turf or other activities. It's also just a good compliance document because we all know that work health and safety and environmental management are all about management of risks. And this is a good way of showing how you manage your risks in your business. So we start at the home page, start new, risk management. There it is, site risk assessment. Let's click on that and this page will open. Now, we'll use today's date because we're doing the risk assessment right now, and we'll enter the address at which we're performing the job, which is going to be the laying of turf. Okay, so 123 Fake Street, Sydney. So laying of turf is the type of work, inspected by Matt. That's me. Oops. Okay. Now, here is just where we answer all these questions, and if we need to put in controls, let's record them. Is there safe access for workers to the site? Yes. Is there safe access for parking for vehicles? Yes. Is there safe access for parking large vehicles, plant, machinery and equipment? In this case, yes. But we get to this question, are safe exits clearly identified and free from obstruction? Let's say no, because there's an obstruction for the exit and they're not identified. Okay, so the control is to remove obstruction and sign, well, put up a sign, I guess. Are there any overhead obstructions? I'm going to say that there is. Now, what's our control for the overhead obstruction? We can't actually remove it entirely, so we're going to tag the overhead obstruction. So it's clearly marked, and we're going to use a spotter when we're working around that overhead obstruction. Okay, so there's our controls. Do we think that's an adequate control? I'd say yes. Are there any in-ground obstructions? No, in this case. Sufficient rubbish and dump bins available? Yes. Is all relevant signage available and displayed? It is, except for that exit sign, which we've controlled that, so let's say yes. Are there any overhead or in-ground hazards to be identified and signed? That's asking the same question again, but I think it's an important one, so I guess that's a checkpoint. Yes, tagged overhead obstruction. So we've put in our controls. Fire and electrical safety. Is there adequate fire equipment on site? Yes. In this case, if we're laying turf, there's probably not any fire hydrants. There may be, or fire extinguishers, except in our vehicle. But there'll be a hose available, and that is sufficient. It's a low risk for fire. So it's adequate, and all our employees are trained in the use of fire safety equipment. Is the site electrical power safe and functional? I'm going to say this is not applicable because in laying turf, we're not using any electrical instruments in this case, and therefore this power isolation switch, that's not applicable either. Are all electrical leads tested and tagged? It's not applicable. We're not using electrical implements. PPE, is all appropriate PPE available and in good condition? In this case, laying of turf, really the only PPE we're actually going to need to use is sun safety, hats, long sleeves, sun cream, and yes, that is available. Have all hazardous tasks been identified? Yes, they have, because all my staff are well trained and they've all read the SWIMs that they need to. Have all appropriate workers been trained in the safe operation of all plant and equipment? Yes. As I just said, they've all read the SWIMs that they need to. So because my staff are well trained. Have all the workers received the necessary inductions training? Yes, they have, because they're all my employees. We may need to induct them if they're contractors, obviously, but I've covered them all. Now, that's your risk assessment form. We merely need to submit that now. And the next task is simply to close that, because we don't need to do anything with the form. We've controlled all our risks, and we've examined all our risks, which is all that we're asked to do. So we can close that form. And let's see where the record is. So you may have, as I say, you've hopefully filled this in on your phone or your iPad. Where's the record? Down here in applications, that's the record keeping area. Risk management, let's open it up, and we'll look under site risk assessments by date. And there it is. There's only one record there because I've entered this as a test, and that's our site risk assessment. We can click on that blue tag and open up the site risk assessment. So that's how we record a site risk assessment.